You are now listening to the Q&E Podcast.
Is this what you want? Huh? Is this what you want? Well, come and get it, goddammit!
What's up, everybody? You are listening to the Q&E Podcast. You are here with your boy Q Hicks right now. And I got Egga on the other line. Egga, tell the people what's good.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Q&E Podcast. Today, we are reviewing episode 6 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This was the season finale, and this one was titled One World, One People. Love the title. It definitely matched the vibe of the episode. If you've been watching any of our other show reviews, y'all will see we just finished Snowfall. So this is another series that we'll finally put to a close. We're doing Invincible. That's about to end soon. So make sure y'all get onto these show reviews and movie reviews that we got coming out. This was another great series that just ended.
Yeah, and definitely let us know what you guys would want to see us review next. We got Mortal Kombat coming out next week. You already know we got Invincible. That season finale is coming to an end next week as well. What else we got coming for you? Got Concrete Cowboy. So just let us know what you guys want us to review. But we definitely going to be on top of it, man. We definitely appreciate all the support we've been getting as well.
Facts. So, how did you feel about this episode before we get started on it? How you felt about it?
I had mixed emotions about this episode, bro. I really did, because I felt good about Sam and like the closure that he ended up getting with Isaiah Bradley. I loved all the Isaiah Bradley and Sam scenes. They felt so powerful and impactful, and just the emotion that you had toward them, especially being black. So I love those scenes, but it felt like the rest of the story, bro. I didn't think the writing was good for Sharon Carter. I didn't think it was good for the Flag Smasher.
What?
And it really takes away from the show, bro. Because other than, and I really don't like the Sam becoming Captain America thing that much either. But I'm a rock with it. But yeah, man, it was just some things I didn't like writing wise about certain characters.
I thought you would have loved what they did with Sharon. I ain't see that coming at all. I'm thinking we're finna see a whole nother person as the power broker and whatnot. But I think it was cool how they twisted it and made it her this whole time. So that was cool to me. I thought she would have liked that. The Flag Smasher part, I understand.
The Flag Smashers was my biggest issue. Sharon wasn't that big of a character in this episode. I feel like she was more background, but she shot Baytrock, and then we ended up getting that post-credit scene with her, and we ended up finding out she's the power broker. She had her scenes, but it was more so with the Flag Smashers, because it felt like their storyline this whole season was just all over the place, bro. Like, I couldn't get a grasp of what their main mission was. And also, John Walker in this episode was somebody I was kind of questioning as well. Like, it looked like he kind of tried to turn good in this episode, and then he ends up meeting with Val at the end. So it's just like, oh, so you're not good, and you still like on that anti-hero shit. So I'm like, what side does this nigga John Walker want to be on? It's like, bro, nigga, what are you doing right now, bro?
And that's crazy that we can talk more about it while I go ahead and say the biggest plot points, because that's one of the biggest plot points that I have. The future of John Walker is a mystery right now, because we know they just announced there's going to be a Captain America 4 movie. So I'm very sure we're going to see John Walker / U.S. agent. We're going to see him in that. So the one of the big 3 plot points from this episode was the future of John Walker is a mystery. We don't know if he's going to be good, bad, in the middle. So it's a lot to see from that. Sharon is the power broker. That was another big plot point that I feel twist and turned a lot of the show around. And the Flag Smashers are completely gone. That was the other biggest plot point I could pull from this. And it's crazy, because I thought somebody was probably going to get away. And no, they just wiped it clean with all of them. So those were the 3 biggest plot points from the episode.
Yeah. And it's something I don't know about Sharon. I believe that she is the power broker right now, but I don't think she has been the power broker this entire time. And I don't think she's the power broker that a lot of people have been referencing. So, because a lot of people have been referencing the power broker as he. So I think there were actually 2 power brokers before. I think it was one before Sharon, and Sharon ended up meeting up with that power broker, and he really just passed off the power so he can be even more in the shadows. And now I feel like that can kind of be revealed like in future movies as that being the Mandarin. I feel like at first the Mandarin was somebody who was the power broker, but then he ended up meeting with Sharon Carter, and he just passed it off to Sharon Carter because they kept referencing to the power broker as he. And I can't get off of that. I think that she just recently became the power broker and became what she is right now.
So do you think there could be multiple power brokers, but just on different levels? Or do you think it's fully what you said on it just got passed to Sharon?
I feel like it was more so getting passed. I feel like she still could be in connection with the Mandarin at this moment too. Could have been who she was talking to at the end. I don't know who she was talking to at the end. She was talking about she wanted somebody to get the buyers because she has all the government secrets. That could have been who she was talking to. She could have been talking to some random assistant of hers. Like, we just don't know. But I think she does have a connection to the Mandarin at some point. And I think we'll see the connection in future movies. Because I just can't shake that they've been saying he, and nobody really has seen the power broker before. I feel like they know, at least some people know who the power broker is, and it was a dude before, and it just was transferred to Sharon. That would make more sense to me.
True. I ain't think about that. So that's a good point. But we start the episode off with Carly and the Flash Smashers. We're basically picking right up from episode 5. And their GRC raid is in full effect right now. Sam and Bucky arrive on the scene. You know, we get a great look at the new Captain America suit, and we see Sharon pops up as well. So everybody is in full action at this point. Everybody's going to the same location in New York to see what's going on with this GRC raid. And I love the Captain America suit. I know I was predicting like possibly some different colors and stuff, but they really did stick true to the comic books. And I thought it was cool to see that. I don't know. I was just kind of hoping that they were going to play with it a little bit and give them a different look, but still give that same feeling.
Yeah, I would have liked to see that too. I would have liked to see him with like, at least like I said last week, I would have rather seen him with like a Falcon in the middle or some shit that still resembles like his past of being the Falcon. I would have liked to see that, but it was a cool look. I liked it honestly with the new Captain America suit.
Because I feel like they I agree, they could have put like a Falcon on his chest, and what would have been cool is for the wings, it could have been the Captain America shield design on the wings, and he'll still have the actual shield, but he could have the Falcon in the middle. But I think he was really trying to get rid of the Falcon narrative. So I think he was really just trying to go full blown Captain America. That's why the Falcon wasn't incorporated in the suit.
And that was kind of weird to me too, because like I've said in past episodes, man, I really don't like how they've been trying to spin it from him trying to be autonomous with the Falcon to him trying to be Captain America. I would have rather him been like a Captain Falcon. I remember somebody had said it when he was walking down talking to like he ended up talking to the senators and shit. He was like, damn, who was that? The Captain Falcon or some shit? I would have rather his name been that or Black America or some shit that's not Captain America. So you would just be different or some shit like that. Something different. That's what I was thinking about Bob, bro. I was just like, I wish he picked a different name and didn't actually go by Captain America. Because I remember somebody was
not gonna let that man name be named Black America.
Black America. I'll say Black America or Captain Falcon. Those were the two I was on board with. I was like, I'd rather his name be those. Y'all niggas gonna know what's good when y'all see me in y'all hood, nigga. Black America coming through. Oh yeah. They was
not gonna let that slide at all. They was like, hold on now, we'll give you the shield, but you going too far with the name.
Yeah, man, yeah.
And then we get to, it's basically a whole bunch of action. It ain't even really no scene by scene stuff. I just kind of tried to pull the biggest points from each action scene. But we get Baytrop versus Captain America in like the first real big fight scene of the episode. And Carly calls Bucky for a distraction, and she's kind of trying to pick his brain while she's distracting him. And Bucky's basically telling him, look, I've been down the road that you're on twice, and I failed twice. And he's still trying to go about the way that him and Sam were trying to go at stopping Carly, when time has proven itself again and again that Zemo was right. You have no choice but to kill Carly, bro. There is no talking to her. There is no calming her down. So I thought that was cool that they actually did get a conversation.
But I'm starting to think that Zemo had a plan behind everything that he was telling them boys. Like, I really felt like he was a puppet master in all of this shit. I felt like he was telling them to kill her so that can further his plans that he has going down the line. Because as we seen later in the episode that we see his butler ended up killing the flag smashers that were left when Carly had died. I feel like he was telling them to kill her so he can continue his plan, and she was really in the way of what the hell they had going on. And you already know he don't like super soldiers anyway, so he wanted them niggas gone too. So I feel like that was another reason and an ulterior motive. I feel like he wasn't giving them niggas good advice. It was just for his personal gain. Because it's Zemo, bro. Why would Zemo be telling them, giving them niggas good advice? Like, nah, this nigga want to push his narrative and, you know what I'm saying, go by his agenda. So I think that's what we're going to find out down the line. That's why he wanted the Flag Smashers out of the way.
But since we're talking about Zemo right now, I don't really know where Zemo could fit in down the line. Like, because who's going to break him out of the raft? Like, is it going to be an inside job, or is somebody going to come get him? Because, like I said, it's going to be a Captain America 4. So do you think he'll be incorporated in that?
And it goes back to what I said last week about the Thunderbolts. I think that Thunderbolt thing is really going to come true. And I think that Val is working with Thaddeus Ross. Thaddeus Ross owns the Raft prison. So Thaddeus Ross can easily get Zemo out of his own prison and, you know what I'm saying, have Zemo working with the Thunderbolt crew, which is his crew. And they, in the comics, they basically replaced the Avengers. We know that the Avengers are basically in shambles right now with Cap gone, with Iron Man gone. There's no real leader of the Avengers. So what the Thunderbolts are, they just replace the Avengers for a time being. But some people have ulterior motives and try to go on to their anti-hero like storylines. And I think Zemo will be heading the Thunderbolt group. And I think John Walker will be in that group as well. And I think Val is like somebody who's working with Thaddeus Ross. So I think that's how he eventually gets out of prison. Thaddeus Ross is going to let him out because he needs him.
That makes sense. And we've seen situations before they ain't got no problem letting people out when they need to use them. So
yeah, and exactly. Good point. And the same thing with in the Civil War when they had ended up letting all them boys out from the Sokovian Accords. Like Falcon was in prison, all them boys was in prison, and they ended up getting out. I don't feel like that's a hard prison to get out of.
That was different though. They didn't let them out. Cap broke into there and broke them out. So that's the only difference. But you're totally right though. That Thaddeus Ross is his prison, so he can let in and out whoever he wants. It's just the fact that Cap actually found a way to break in there and break people out. So I thought that was cool how that ended with Civil War.
How the hell did he get there? It's not like he can walk to the prison. Like, this shit is on water. So did he like get a helicopter, drop his ass in? I'm just thinking.
Probably had some connections. Hey, Cap a smooth talker. He know how to lie and all that. So hey, maybe he found a way to smooth talk away to some of the guards and just went action mode from that point.
And I fuck with the prison. They had showed the Raft prison in this episode as well. I love just like the setup of like the outside, how it's on a river and how it just sits on, not on a river, but on the ocean and shit. I fuck with the aesthetic.
Because it's basically underwater. It only comes up when people go there. So yeah, I don't. And I noticed it was above water when we seen Zemo. So was somebody going there at that moment because it was above water? Because I thought it would have been underwater when we seen them.
And I thought that was going to be a post-credit scene where Thaddeus Ross walks up to Zemo's cell and like, hey, you want to start up this Thunderbolt group or be the leader of it or some shit? I thought that was going to be like the post-credit scene because we seen Sharon Carter. It was like the mid-credit scene. I thought he was going to be like the last one, but we ended up didn't get anything for that. But I thought that was going to be it. So I think, like you said, in Captain America 4, that's when we will see it all come together.
Facts.
And when did they say that's supposed to come out?
I don't think they really gave no date yet. They just announced that there is one coming. And along with the rest of the action, we see that they're locking up the GRC council and police vehicles, and they're basically kidnapping them. They have some in a helicopter as well. So I don't really know if they were already just trying to kill him, but we see later in the episode, Carly was alluding to the fact, look, if shit hit the fan, we got to kill the hostages to still send our message. So I thought that was crazy. Even though she said that later in the episode, I felt like that was important to mention now. But Sam goes after the helicopter to save those hostages. And Carly tells her crew that if it comes down to it, that's what's going to have to happen. And we noticed that her people ain't really on board all the way like how she thought they were in the beginning. Yeah, they're still helping her, but they're very hesitant with a lot of stuff that they're doing now because she's like, hey, we got to kill these people if it comes to it. And they're looking like, you trying to just kill innocent people? And like, we're on camera now with everything that's going on. Like, you really trying to kill innocent people? We done already blew up hospitals and whatnot. So I don't know. That it's crazy that her followers are even looking at her like she's an extremist at this point.
Yeah, and we've seen that in past episodes. I think it was episode 3 or 4 when they had ended up blowing up the building. They was like, whoa, like, what are you doing? Like, they're innocent people. And she was like, hey, that's the only time we're gonna get our message across. And even last week, I forgot what she had said last week. Oh, that's when Baytrock had ended up coming in. And the dude had said, oh, we're working with criminals now. And she was like, shit, we are criminals. And the dude was like, so like even her people already was like looking at her crazy. So this shit just built on top of it, bro. Because it started out trying to be like on some peaceful shit. And then it started out, you know what I'm saying, started to become her trying to just send a message at the end of the day. That's why I said the storyline for the flash match was just so all over the place. Because it felt like Carly was so on like that terrorism shit or whatever the fuck y'all want to call it. I know Sam don't want to call it terrorism, but she was trying to get her point across.
Supremacist stuff.
Supremacy, okay, yes. But her other people was just like, we just trying to, you know what I'm saying, just to get this law across. And I feel like that's something that they should have dove into more. We didn't get enough background on the GRC at all. Like, I feel like the GRC just really popped up, like the actual meeting and the board. They mentioned the GRC here and there. They blew up the GRC building. But we didn't get enough background on like what the vote meant for like everybody involved, like how it was going to reset borders and shit like that. We didn't get enough time with the GRC. I feel like that should have been a part of the storyline. I feel like more, and I feel like that would have broadened the Flag Smasher storyline because they just run up in a GRC building and kidnapping hostages. I'm like, what the fuck going on? Like, what did these niggas do? And what are y'all trying to do?
But it's the point of it's only 6 episodes. You got to smash in everything in the 6 episodes. And that was the thing that I had a problem with WandaVision. I'm like, 9 episodes? Like, why not just make it 10? Why not go 10 to 12 episodes? Because WandaVision drug everything out literally all the way until like the last 2 episodes and just put a whole bunch of shit in our face for the last 2 episodes. And with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it divided everything up perfectly. But like you said, there were certain things they could have still went more in depth with. But that's the problem when you only have 6 episode series or 9 episode series. You just got to put all the main important stuff into the episodes, but then you're leaving a bunch of gaps for the fans who want to know more about certain characters or certain situations in the show.
And that's what I would say about the show. I don't want to just sound like I'm just bashing the show because the show did have its moments, like I said about the Falcon and the Isaiah Bradley scenes. I loved all of those scenes, but the show was action packed, so I understand why people like the show. But it just had storyline plot holes. And I don't want to bash the show because they doing this in a pandemic. So I understand that you can't get everything that you want to get, you know what I'm saying, with all those type of restrictions. But like when it come to writing, when it came to editing, like I feel like we missed a lot of things that I feel like could have been background. Because I don't think these episodes or this season was supposed to be restricted to like 6. I think the intention was to have it at like 8 or 9. That was like the intention. But they ended up having like a coronavirus like related storyline in the show, and they ended up cutting that. They ended up cutting that out of the show. So that was like 2 episodes like damn near cut because they didn't want to mention like the coronavirus or the pandemic type shit inside of the show. So that was a big plot hole because you feel like in the beginning like, damn, like we don't know Mama Donya like that. How the fuck is she dying? Like that type of background was lost all in those episodes that they ended up cutting because they didn't want to reference the pandemic and shit like that because it had a similar type of storyline like that. That's something that I had read earlier because it was supposed to be like 8 or 9 episodes, but they ended up cutting it to 6 because they didn't want to mention that, which is crazy. And I feel like it was a lot of missed background with those episodes that we had ended up missing.
True. I feel like it would have been cool to kind of like reference that because in the MCU now, they're in 2022. I believe they're a year ahead of real time. So in my opinion, it would have made sense to include it in the show. But like you said, they're doing all this in the pandemic. So who knows what they were and were not allowed to include in the show because you still got to meet a deadline. Like if you say this show is dropping this date, it's like, hey, we ain't got enough time to do 2 or 3 more episodes. We just got to say fuck it and just drop what we got. So I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next few fight scenes, we see Bucky is taking on the Flag Smashers by himself at the moment, and they're purposely lighting the police vehicles on fire. Carly again going in extremist mode, and we see John Walker arrive to face Carly himself and help out Sam and Bucky, and he was actually doing pretty good. And I was confused in this moment because, like you said, we were building up anti-Cap this whole time, so I'm thinking when we see him again, he's going after anybody in his way. He was helping Bucky literally as soon as he got there. And I'm like, oh, wow, like John Walker actually like trying to turn a new leaf over. And I was kind of impressed with how they ended it with John Walker not really being all the way good, but not messing shit up either at the same time.
It was weird. It was weird with John because I feel like they made it too sharp. Like we just talked about, it was only 6 episodes, so you had to squeeze it in. But his shit was just way too sharp. This nigga just killed somebody, and then he gets a suit at the end of the episode, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm back. So it made you question, like, did John really learn anything from his actions? Like, does he think what he did is still cool? Even though he turned into like a good guy for those couple of scenes, does he still think killing people is cool, or does he want to save people? Like you said, it's a mystery what the hell is going on with John, because his moral compass is all over the place to me. Like, he could have ended up getting Carly, but he ends up trying to save, you know what I'm saying, the hostages. Like, what are your true intentions, John Walker? And that's something that we could build on potentially. But yeah, that was like so all over the place because it was so sharp.
And that was his favorite. That was my favorite scene of his throughout this whole show, because I feel like he truly did have a Captain America moment when he tried to save those hostages from falling off the cliff. And that was literally what happened next. It got to the point where Carly tried to drive the hostages off of the construction cliff, and John Walker, like you just said, had a decision. He could either still keep going after Carly, or he could save the hostages. And he really did a Captain America thing. He threw the shield down and said, "Bump the shield right now. Saving lives is what's important." It was. And what happened, what we said was gonna happen did happen. Like, that shit started denting up. I'm like, yeah, it didn't take that long. Because the first hit that he did with it, nothing happened to it. I was like, oh, okay. He kind of got some super glue on it or something like that. First punch, nah, straight dent. But I love the fact that he actually did save those. He saved them for like half a second, but it was the fact he really had that Captain America moment. So I was happy they gave him that at least.
But I love that one scene, bro, when it was him, he was fighting against Carly, and like they were like in between like some railings or something like that. And he was like getting a couple of good punches in on Carly. And then Carly ended up getting on the rails and doing like a roundhouse kick. I was like, that shit was so smooth how they did that shit. I fuck with that. I fuck with that scene. Crazy. I fuck with that scene.
This was the best fight scene John Walker has had this whole series, like, because
it ain't over though. It ain't over that. What's the name though, bro? That last episode, he was fighting against Sam and what's the name?
Well, okay, I'll put it right under that one. I'll put it under that one because I like this one too.
Yeah, because he could have killed Sam and Bucky last week. That's why I'm like, that shit was crazy last week. That shit was crazy.
True. I get that one. I'll put it right under that fight. But we see Sam comes and saves the hostages after John Walker fails to. And it's crazy because once everybody sees all the flag smashers and everybody get a close-up look at him in his Captain America suit, Carly can't even believe it. She's like, whoa, like, you really bought into the bullshit of that flag and of that shield and everything. And she said, you of all people, like, I thought we had an understanding on what was going on. So I'm like, yeah, Carly, you got to understand. And Sam told her, he was like, I'm trying something different. Like, maybe you should do the same. And I'm like, bro, she too gone, bro. Ain't no talking to Carly at this point.
But I think she was right, though, bro. Like, and this is what she said was true. You out of everybody bought into the bullshit because you was just on the same page as us literally 2 episodes ago. So now we 2 episodes later, you talk about the bullshit and you wearing the Captain America suit. This is what I mean when I say his shit was too sharp. When y'all say he wanted to be autonomous at first, and then we get to an episode where he wants to be Captain America, it's just like, how the fuck did we get here? And that's what I've been saying this whole season. Like, that shit just didn't make complete sense to me, bro. I feel like I'm really missing something with that Captain America shit. Because he was somebody, and in last episode when he was talking to Isaiah Bradley in the Falcon, he had said that he had quote unquote connections and all that bullshit because he was the Falcon. But then we see in episode 1 that nigga couldn't have had that many connections because the banker turned that nigga down inside the bank for the loan. So I'm like, what these connections you talking about? They ain't helping you with your financial situation. So I'm like, you ain't got that many damn connections, my nigga. So I'm like, man, it was just weird with his storyline. Like, I'll accept it that he's the Black Captain America right now, but I don't know, bro. I didn't like how it just transitioned into that. Because I agree with Carly. Like, how the fuck you, out of all people, became this nigga? Like, yeah, bro. That's the one question I've been having this whole season.
That shit was hilarious. I'm like, yeah, Carly pissed. She like, I thought it was one nigga. I thought it was one nigga I was thinking the same as me. And this nigga, out of all niggas, is the one that did it.
Yeah, that shit crazy.
Dr. Umar moment?
Yeah, basically.
And once the hostages are all saved, the flag smashers split up, And Sharon finds Carly, and this is where we find out in the episode that Sharon is the power broker. And their differences is the reason why they split up, because Sharon is basically telling her, look, I thought you were on the same page as me, what I was trying to do. Carly was like, no, you're trying to get revenge in everything you're doing. And I'm literally trying to have a liberation with people who deserve better. So that was the difference on why they split up and why she was still in the super soldier serum. And during this time in their conversation, Baytrot walks in and finds out also that Sharon is the power broker, and he threatens to blackmail her if she does not increase his payment. And we get to a guns drawn scene where everybody got their pieces out, and Sharon kills Baytrot, but Carly shoots Sharon. And this is where we get the Carly versus Captain America fight. So all of that happening in within like 2 or 3 minutes was insane. I had to pause the show because I'm like, what? I'm thinking she's working for the power broker this whole time. You mean to tell me she is the power broker? So I was just confused.
Yeah, I did fuck with the scene because I like the background that she had with Carly. Like, that's how they knew each other. And now we understand like why she was texting her in the beginning, like, yeah, I'm gonna find you and kill your ass. But when it's funny because when she actually seen her, she didn't want to kill her. She didn't want to kill her at all. So I'm like, damn, where this energy you had in the first couple of episodes? You really didn't have that when you ended up seeing her face to face. You wanted her back on her team. You wanted Carly back on your team, which makes me think that Sharon really didn't have as much power as we really thought, because what Carly was saying must have been true. Like, you just want us back for muscle. And that's why you're not killing me right now, because you was talking a lot of shit at the beginning. But so you must want us back for muscle, and you must be weaker than what you're saying you are. Sharon ended up saying, like, I got more power than you. But I'm like, I don't think you got that much power, Sharon. Until she get back in the U.S., then she going to have all the secrets and shit. But at that moment, I didn't think Sharon had that much power.
I don't think you're wrong, because like you said, I'm just finding out she the power broker, so I'm confused on everything right now. How much power you really got? Like, are you actually the person giving people powers, or are you just the middle person who goes under the power broker title? You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you. I was very confused. I'm like, how much power you really got, Sharon, or do you just need muscle?
Exactly, because we see her go through those barricades in that one scene. She had all of those guys who were like had guns and shit. It was like an underground place, but they weren't super soldiers. Like, she wanted the real muscle with the super soldier serum type niggas with the flag smasher. That's why she wanted them back. So I'm like, you got those people, but what else do you really have? And we find out, like, or I realized that's why she took those two vials of super soldier serum when they ended up killing Nagel. That's why she took those, because she wanted the super soldier serum this whole time. So I feel like she can still play with that the next time we see her as well, because I feel like she's the one that picked them up. Some people said that Zemo ended up picking them up, but I think Sharon picked up those 2 vials that were left by Nagel. So I think that we will see that moving forward.
Yeah, because it wouldn't make sense for it to be Zemo, because like you said, he hates super soldiers and he's in the raft right now. And I doubt if the Thunderbirds come and get him and he's presented to Thaddeus and everything, I doubt he's just going to be like, hey, I got these super soldier serums. Like, what y'all want to do? I doubt he's going to be
exactly.
Like that.
Exactly.
So
it makes more sense.
It would make sense. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And with the Carly and Captain America fight, Sam is refusing to attack her. And while this is happening, Bucky and John catch all of the other Flash Smashers and round them up. And Carly is pissed because she's like, why won't you fight me? Like, she's telling Sam, like, attack me. And Sam was like, look, I'm trying to prove a point to you that this isn't the way to go. And if that means letting you kick my ass, like, and that's just what it's going to have to be. But right before Carly get a chance to shoot Sam, Sharon comes out of nowhere and shoots Carly and kills her. And before Carly dies, she does apologize to Sam while she's in his arms, because she finally understands it, literally while facing death, that he was right. It wasn't the way to go about things.
But I didn't understand it because you just tried to kill this nigga. So yeah. I was confused from Captain America or from Sam's point of view, because I'm like, she says, I'm sorry, and you basically forgive her for everything that she's done, but she just had a gun pointed at you and shit. I'm like, nah, Sam. I can't roll with what you're doing.
I wasn't surprised that Sam forgave her. I was surprised that they put in the script for her to say, I'm sorry. I thought she was going to say anything else. If she would have said, I'm sorry, and then said a bunch of other stuff, I'd have been like, cool. But all she said was, I'm sorry. So that confused me, because I'm like, no, you were supposed to say something like, I wish we could have seen eye to eye. Like, you were supposed to say some other type shit.
Like, yeah, because it didn't make sense. What are you apologizing for? What are you apologizing for? Like you're not
Crazy.
apologizing for your terrorism because you did that. You had a reason behind that. Presumably you had a reason. So what are you apologizing for? You apologizing for having a gun pointed at him? Like, what the fuck else? Like, what are you apologizing for? So I agree with what you're saying. They should have had something else after that. I'm sorry, to give us some background on what she really meant by that. It's like, nigga, what are you apologizing for?
Because I'm thinking any other type of situation with Marvel, they would have let that be like a whole minute and a half where she dying, but she talking and all of that stuff, expressing what she was really doing. Like, I'm thinking we finna get a whole monologue from Carly. I'm sorry. And then she died. I'm like, what? Oh my God, that's it. Y'all use that time for any other. When Tony Stark died, granted, it's Tony Stark. But when Tony Stark died, we had a whole 3 minutes of him just sitting there dying. I'm like, oh my gosh, bro. Same energy, please, with every character.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
But right after she dies, Sam brings her out into the public to the ambulance, and he approaches the GRC in front of all the news cameras and everything. And this is happening live on TV. And some of the quotes that I feel were most powerful in Sam's speech was, one, you have to stop calling them terrorists, when he was speaking on how the GRC referred to the Flag Smashers. And we finally have a common struggle now. He was alluding to the fact that, look, it's not just black people and minorities going through shit now. This is a common struggle that literally everyone in the world can agree that we're all going on. And the last quote, I'm a black man carrying the stars and stripes. What don't I understand about what's going on? When the senator basically tried to say, you don't know what you're talking about. So those were some of the biggest quotes I pulled from his speech. And we see Isaiah Bradley is also watching while it's going on. He was very proud. And I thought Isaiah Bradley was going to show up out there once he seen that. I was like, whoa, is my prediction going to come true? But he didn't go out there, but he was able to see what Sam was doing. And you see he was very proud while watching.
And I don't think Isaiah Bradley can really like pop out like that, because niggas assume that he's dead. He was declared dead, so people think he's dead. So if he walk out on the scene and niggas like, who is that? And he's like, yeah, that's Isaiah Bradley. Like, damn, this nigga dead? Like where this nigga come from? You know what I'm saying? And then it's gonna be niggas trying to kill him at that point, because it's gonna be like, that's what tried to happen before. They're trying to kill him and shit like that if they try to find out like he's still alive. So I don't think he can really pop out, which is why I was honestly surprised. And honestly, it started to make sense now. At the end, we get the scene where it's Sam and Isaiah Bradley, and they end up looking at the statue or whatever that they built of Isaiah Bradley. I was thinking like, why they didn't get any press or anything like that to actually like record it and get some recognition on Isaiah Bradley, get some background on him. But then I'm thinking about it like, oh, they didn't do that because if people would have realized that he was there, then people would have realized he's alive and shit like that. I don't know. It was weird that they just showed that.
It'd have been a weird, sticky situation. So I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he could have shown it some recognition, but just not had Isaiah there. But when Isaiah is there, you couldn't have the press around. But when Isaiah wasn't there, I would have liked him to get some attention, because niggas gonna walk past the statue and be like, who this nigga? Like we don't know who this nigga is. Like, at least he has it, so he is at least in there in the museum, so he will be known moving forward. But I would have loved to see him actually get some recognition and like have stories written about him and his impact and things like that from the press, because them niggas be on every other scene.
And I loved how fast forward into that part of the show, like I love how was it? Like when they walked in, you walk through part of the Captain America exhibit, and then you see his part of the exhibit, and then you go through the rest of the Captain America exhibit. So it's kind of like you can't ignore it, because you're going to have to pass it while you're going through the exhibit. It's like in a halfway point. So I love how they did that. He didn't just put it on some random side or part of the museum or anything. Because I'd have been mad then, because like you said, like it would have been like, well, what if people don't stop and read it? And like, no, he put it in a spot where you have no choice but to read this. So I love that part about it. Literally, you better read it.
Black man, they better read that shit.
But what they should have did, they should have tried to. I'm sure they probably burned it up with evidence and all that. They should have probably tried to find like an old picture of him as a super soldier in his young days or something, like, because you seen in the background there were like there was painting soldier on the pictures. Wall, a soldier picture or something, but they probably burned all that when they tried to like erase him from history and all that. So
yeah.
but
I like what Cam, not Cam, but what Sam was saying, because he ended up getting his point across, and they didn't end up moving forward with the resettlement and with the vote. So he ended up getting what Carly basically wanted. She didn't want the vote to go through, and the vote didn't go through. So she ended up getting what he wanted. But I don't know, bro. I just felt like throughout this whole season, Sam was just a little naive. And I ended up tagging you in that shit that Jamel Hill had said about his like that naive approach to Sam. And that's just what I've been getting at this whole time. Like his approach to things just felt weird as a black man. Like, why are you approaching things like this? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
It kind of goes under the what's the phrase? It's not even really a phrase because people have said it different ways. But why are we always the ones who have to go about things in a calm way or in a sensible way? It's like we're always looked at as go about doing this the quote unquote right way. Don't go about doing it the way you feel best. Like it's like black people are always under the light of we have to find the smart way. When no one else tries to find the smart way to do shit, they just do it in a way that best benefits them. But we always try to do shit that not only benefits us but can benefit everybody. So I agree with the naive stand. I wouldn't even call it naive. It's just I don't know
hopeful,
what I would
optimistic. Hopefully optimistic is what I would say too.
I wouldn't call it naive because naive just means like you're kind of dumb to it. So I wouldn't call it naive. I would just say hopefully optimistic.
Yeah.
As opposed to other people who don't have to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Because it was at one point he had said, this is the later scene when we get to him talking to Isaiah Bradley at his house. And he ended up saying that, yeah, we built this country. Black folks built this country. You know what I'm saying? We bled for it. Like, why can't we fight for it? In my head, I'm thinking, you were already fighting for it. Like, you were a Falcon before. It's not like you just started fighting for it when you became Captain America. So it was kind of weird when he said that. I was like, that kind of don't make sense because you was fighting for it before when you were a Falcon.
No, but I see why. I understand why he said it because it's a difference. Like, the title and the level of respect that comes with the Captain America ensemble, I feel like what he was saying was, yeah, I'm already fighting for it, but why can't I fight for it under that shield? Why can't I fight for it under that level of respect? It's like I shouldn't have to be white to fight for this country under the head title. Like, why do I have to be the Falcon? Why do I have to be okay with fighting for the country at this level when I can do the same job, but with the level of respect of a Steve Rogers? Like, I should be able to fight for this country at that level. And I feel like that's what he was getting at. Why I just got to be content with being the Falcon? Why can't I be Captain America? Like, why my people built this country? You know, we bled for it. We did everything for it that y'all wipe out of the history books for the real. You know what I'm saying? So why not give me the title that y'all give the blue-eyed, blonde hair people? You know what I'm saying? So
I can see.
I feel like that was his point. But we see once all the Flag Smashers are caught, this is when we see Zemo's butler finish the job on the rest of the Flag Smashers and blow them up as they're getting ready to go to prison. They were in a police vehicle and it gets blown up. And Bucky helps Sharon escape. And we get to, after all this is done, we get to the scene where we were just talking about earlier, where Val gives John Walker a new suit. And he is now U.S. agent. It is a black and red suit. It's literally just a color change from the suit that he had this whole show. And this part was crazy to me because this is why I feel his future is a mystery right now. She said, when stuff gets weird, we'll call you. I'm thinking like it's going to be in case Cap is too busy, we'll call you. She specifically said, when stuff starts getting weird, we'll call you. So I'm like, they're really trying to leave it as a mystery on what he's going to be used for.
I still think it's the Thunderbolts thing because, like I said, they're supposed to be replacing the Avengers, so that's going to be the weird thing because they're not going to be like the regular people that you're going to see. Like, it's going to be Zemo, it's going to be John Walker, it could be some more niggas that they end up putting in to build the team out. So it's going to be weird because it's going to be like, who the hell are these niggas? Like we don't trust this nigga, but you're going to know John Walker, and it's just like, damn, like we had a pass with John Walker. We really ain't bang with that nigga like that. So can we really trust the John Walker, even though we see him try to save lives in this episode? So I feel like, yeah, that's what she meant by the weird shit. Because it's going to be weird if it ain't no Avengers or the Avengers are out doing some other shit. Yeah.
Definitely. Because I'm still wondering, well, I feel like we'll get a better scope on who the leader of the next group of Avengers is going to be. I'm still pretty sure it's going to be Spider-Man because they're prepping him to be the next Tony Stark and all of that. So you're going to have another crew of Avengers, but you're also going to have the Thunderbolts. So it's like, are the Thunderbolts going to be basically shameless plug for Invincible? If y'all review our Invincible reviews, the GDA basically has the Guardians of the Globe. They got them on speed dial, basically. They don't move unless Cecil tells them to. So are the Thunderbolts only going to move when Thaddeus tells them to, while the Avengers get to move on their own? Or is it going to be a situation where they both get to do what they want?
I think it's more so Thaddeus is gonna have them on speed dial type shit. I feel like when they get outside and once they get used to it, when the people get used to seeing them, then that's when they can start moving like the old Avengers. But when they first start out, it's gonna be like on some Thaddeus has to call me to actually get shit started. That's why Val had ended up telling him, like, wait until I call you to actually, you know what I'm saying, start to, you know what I'm saying, maneuver in the city again with the new suit that you have on. So I think that's what's gonna happen. While the Avengers, like I said, like I don't know. The Avengers, like they're kind of all over the place right now because you're still gonna have Doctor Strange. I feel like that's somebody who could lead it. You got Sam who could possibly still lead it. So you still have pieces of the Avengers, but you do have like some lost pieces that are huge. Natasha was a leader. Captain America was a leader. Like you said, Tony Stark was a leader. So you lost your three, you know what I'm saying, your three figureheads that was really leading the Avengers shit. So it could be a lot of niggas just like on their own paths and not really doing a team up. And a lot of people would be looking for the team aspect. And that's when we could see the Thunderbolts come in and replace them and get the team back together. And then we could see like possibly an Avengers versus Thunderbolts type shit. I don't know.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Plus, it's a lot going with, you know, Shield being rebuilt in space right now with Nick Fury. What is Nick Fury gonna have to say about all this when he comes back, or if he is ever gonna come back, if he's just gonna stay in space? And are Avengers gonna start going to space to start handling like intergalactic type stuff and everything? It's so much that we're going to get in the next 10 years. That's why I'm not really pissed about a lot of plot holes that we're getting in the shows right now, because this is only the first two shows that we've gotten from Marvel. WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Loki is coming out this summer, you know, so I ain't tripping on the plot holes from the shows right now because I know the movies are going to deliver. And we got a whole another decade to see everything playing out the way they got it. So I ain't tripping. I know we'll get all of our questions answered. But around the closing moments of the show, we just talked about the Isaiah Bradley situation, so we ain't really got to go over that again. But we basically get to the end of the episode. For right now, everything is back to normal. We get family cookout vibes. You know, everything is cool. Sam's family is fine. Bucky is at inner peace, and we see Bucky go to the old man. Your prediction was right with this. Around the end of the episode, he went to the old man to make amends and apologize for basically murdering his son, even though he wasn't in control of himself. We never find out if the old man forgives him or not because Bucky just walked out after he apologized. But I don't even think it matters on whether he forgave him or not.
Yeah, it don't matter.
It's the fact that Bucky apologized and faced his demons and did the right thing, regardless of whether it was accepted or not. So I thought that was cool.
Because that was the biggest thing with the man. He said it in episode 1. He was just like I'm kind of over like my son's death, but I want to get the closure of who actually did it. Like nobody actually told him who did it. So actually now he has that closure of, okay, you're the one that did it. So like I said, it really don't matter if he forgave him or not, but he actually gets that closure for himself so he can move forward with his life, and Bucky can do his own thing as well. And he made amends by doing that. So I definitely fucked with that.
Because like Sam told him, look, even if you got 12 people that you feel you need closure with, one person at a time. Like, and it's not about apologizing for you. It's about apologizing to help those people. Like, so I love the fact that he really doing what Sam said. Hey, just one person at a time. Before you know it, you'll patch up with all 12 of those people that you think you still owe something to. So I thought that was
But
cool.
we see at the end that he ends up giving the book to Dr. Rayner, and he scratches out all the names and he circles the dude that he ended up going to. I think his name was Hashima or something like that. He ends up circling his name, but he scratches out all the other names. So I'm guessing he's over with, you know what I'm saying, just trying to search people down. He's just ready to move on to the next phase of his life. He ain't really trying to make amends, but he really wanted to close it with him because he personally knew him and had a relationship with him. So he wanted to close that right then. But he ended up scratching out everybody else's name. So I guess he's moving on. Could be seeing him in Black Panther 2 or whatever moving forward.
True. And we get to the post-credit scene, like you said, with Sharon. She gets full pardons and she gets her job back from the government. And this is when we find out what she's got planned next up her sleeve, because now she's going to use all of the government secrets and weapons to help give powers out as the power broker. And like you said earlier, she said in the clip, hey, super soldiers might be out of the window, but with all these secrets and prototype weapons we got, it's going to be something for everybody. So I'm like, is this going to be a situation where, like, but it's crazy, bro. We're going to have mutants going in the future of Marvel. It's going to be people with just powers. Like, who's going to be a normal citizen at this point? I'm really concerned of who's just going to be normal people, because you're going to have people who got powers. You're going to have people who have, like, weapons. Like, you're going to have mutants. I'm like, who's going to be normal? Like, who are we going to save if everybody can do shit?
Oh, that's what you mean. I was about to say Sam is normal, quote unquote. He just got armor and shit. Yeah, I don't know who the fuck we gonna be saving. Honestly, I think it's gonna be battles against each other. That's what it's just gonna lead up to. It's gonna be battles against each other. The old villain shit. The villain's gonna cause chaos or whatever, and there's gonna be a clash up between those two. And like I said, I think we're gonna get some scrolls that will be playing a part as well moving forward. We're getting that secret evasion shit that's supposed to be coming up in the next year, I want to say. And Secret Invasion was all about scrolls. We don't know who is a scroll or who's not a scroll. You don't know who to trust. So that could be another plot that we end up diving into. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot to go forward with the MCU. We're gonna have vampires too, because you know Blade gonna come through. I'm hearing that they trying to play with Ghost Rider as well. Like, man, this is MCU finna get deep, dog. It's finna get deep for real.
And like I said before, I love how they're getting dark, and I love how they're getting in their villain bag with a lot of stuff. Like squeaky clean heroes, that era is done. And I'm glad that we're grown now to see the true dark side of heroes, or the dark side of picking heroic situations. Like, hey, you ain't finna be no squeaky clean hero no more. I'm glad they got that era done when we were kids, leading up to now with Endgame. So like now that we're grown, it's like, okay, let's do this really based off the comic books. Let's start putting some dark paths up in these movies, and make fans really have to choose when it comes to heroes. Like, hey, this hero good, but like he probably killed people back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Or something like that. So, or he's not always 100% right with trying to save people. I feel like they're really gonna try and make us pick and choose on who the real heroes are and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think this show will have a season 2. I read another article that said that this show will have a season 2, and I think they will come back with obviously Sam's Captain America, and that's when we will actually build on the relationships of what's my boy name, Torres. We're gonna actually get him like becoming the Falcon. It could be for Elijah Bradley as well, becoming the Patriot. We can build on those two characters in the season 2, because like I said, I heard that they have been green lighted for that too. So I think those people will definitely be key characters. I don't know who the villain will be. I don't know if it will be Sharon, or if Sharon will be on the bigger shit by the time we get to that. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't know. But yeah, I do know this is season 2. So what do you got for prediction though? Moving forward in the MCU.
Moving forward to the MCU, I'm just ready for Loki. I love the fact that they're really gonna keep building up this multiverse thing all the way leading up to Doctor Strange, because I feel like Spider-Man, we're definitely going to get multiverse type stuff with Spider-Man, based off of the fact Tony Maguire and Andrew Garfield have been speculated and rumored to be in it, you know, crossing different multiverses and stuff. Fantastic Four, I think that's supposed to be Easter eggs for them. So I'm just loving all this multiverse stuff, because you're going to be mixing the past with the present, or different present people. And I wonder how the mutants are going to be involved in all this. So my only question mark is the mutant standpoint.
I heard that the Eternals movie that is coming out later this year will give us background on the mutants, because the Eternals were people that had the X gene, and that's how they really passed the X gene down. Because Thanos is a mutant, and so so I feel like they will end up giving us background on the Eternals, who or were like the ancestors of the X-Men and shit like that. And they're going to tell us that there were X-Men around that in this whole time. We just didn't notice they were around because, like we seen with Wanda, she had to actually touch the Mind Stone to actually her X gene to actually kick in like that. And I feel like it's going to be the same thing, but like the other X-Men around the world. And maybe the snaps ended up sparking that X gene inside of people. And that's when we see people actually, you know what I'm saying, going crazy with the X-Men and the mutant shit. So I don't know, bro. I know that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
And which movie was it? Damn, which movie was this? It was it was about Wolverine. I don't remember if it was an actual X-Men movie. It wasn't Logan. It was remember the X-Men movie when he was going against his brother?
Sabretooth.
Yeah. I forgot which.
That was Wolverine Origins. Yeah.
Wolverine Origins. That's what it was. That's what it was. In that movie, you noticed he was like, Logan was a kid like in the 1800s or something like that, because he went through like 3 or 4 different wars, him and his brother. So I definitely believe you now on that fact that mutants have always been around this entire time. So I can't wait to see how the Eternals play on that, because there's been mutants since the 1800s, basically.
That's what I'm saying. And you can't mess up backgrounds for certain characters, bro. Especially the big characters like the Wolverines, the Magnetos, the Professor X's. You can't mess up those characters by trying to just say that they were just on the planet and just got their powers like this second, or when the blip had happened, or when the snap had happened. You can't say that they just started the shit in 2020 when them niggas was around, like you said, in the 1800s. Like, you can't say that shit. But I want them to have a great series with the X-Men. I'm looking forward to that the most, bro, because I want to see Wolverine. I want to know who they're bringing back for Wolverine, because all we know is Hugh Jackman at this point. So who will be his replacement? That's what I'm looking forward to the most too, bro. Hugh Jackman will forever be Wolverine.
And are they gonna make him a grown adult, or is he gonna be somebody our age, like in his 20s or a late teenager? Like, I wonder how, from the age aspect, I wonder how they're gonna do it. So I feel like it's gonna be real interesting.
Yeah, bro. We got a lot of good shit coming, bro. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That's gonna be another good one. That could be Doctor Strange versus Wanda. Armored Wars. I think Armored Wars comes out in 2022. That could be honestly the next time we see Sharon, because that would be like that's like Rhodey's story and shit like that. And that's gonna have a lot to do with weapons and shit. So I think that could be possibly the next time we see Sharon and like her Powerbroker image actually pop up like on screen as well. But I'm definitely excited to what's coming with the MCU, bro. It's a lot of shit good, a lot of shit coming.
The only other big question for Marvel right now is, because it comes out next year, supposedly, fingers crossed it still does, who is going to be Black Panther? I feel like that's one of the top 3 biggest Marvel questions right now. Who is going to play Black Panther?
That's coming out next year?
It's supposed to, yeah. Before he died, it was set to come out in 2022. I don't know if they have to push it back now or anything like that. So that's why I say fingers crossed it still comes out next year.
Yeah, man, I think they're going to end up rocking out with Shuri. I think everybody has basically came to that conclusion that it's going to be Shuri. And that's a good one. I don't know who else they would possibly go with, honestly. Then his sister, then it would be passed down, because it's a family legacy thing. And I don't think it would have to be passed down to just another dude. Like, it can be passed down by family and just passed down to his sister. And I think that will work out. It will fit with the storyline and like the ancestry that's going on in Wakanda. I would fuck with it. I would definitely fuck with it,
because she's already like super smart anyway and comes up with all the tech. So naturally, just let her put the suit on.
Facts, bro. Facts. You got anything else on the series, bro?
No, that's it. It was great. I get this series. I get a 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10. I get his jump by the 7 out of 10. I understand why people like this more than WandaVision, because a lot of people say they didn't like WandaVision. It started off slow. I love WandaVision. WandaVision was like shit. That shit would have been a 9.5 if that ended and started end the way it did. But that shit ended up being like an 8.5 or 9. But this shit was a 7 because, like I said, it was action packed, so it was more exciting than WandaVision. But the story plot holes, and I was confused for most of this damn season. Like, why are people doing what they're doing? And that's what questions I didn't have in WandaVision. WandaVision, like everything kind of made sense, and it went with like the storyline. But here I was just asking myself so many questions of like, and we just didn't get answers to them. Like, why did she do what she did with Carly? Like, why did John Walker like have the mystery background? Like, oh, now he want to be good, now he like this, and why is the power broker turning out to be a female? Like, I feel like we're all gonna get those answers later than the MCU, but I feel like we could have got those answers in this series. I don't know. It's just a lot of plot holes with the storyline, which I had issue with, but I still like the action packedness of it. And all right, bro, you can hit it with the social media.
You can follow us on Twitter at QE Podcast 1. You can follow us on Instagram at QANDE Podcast. You can follow and like our Facebook page. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the notification bell so you can see anytime that we drop new episodes. Our email, QANDEpodcast@gmail.com for any business inquiries, questions, or concerns.
Yes, and subscribe to all of our podcast platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And wherever you listen to podcasts, we're most likely there. So definitely check us out. Subscribe to our YouTube at Q&E Podcast. Like we said before, we appreciate all the support that we've been getting for this review process or this recap for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're looking forward to what we will see with Loki. So we'll definitely be reviewing that and all the Marvel things that would be coming forward with the MCU. And and subscribe to my YouTube. Just type in Quincy Hicks into the search bar and definitely subscribe. We appreciate you guys for listening, and we out. Peace.